Hey everybody, what's going on? Monday night, movie time. Hopefully you guys had a good weekend. Hey CB, hey High Desert, hi Ben.
Yep,
hi
regulars
Phantom.
are here.
Ben says, hello everyone, I have Interstellar on 4K. Love the fake moon landing education. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is some of that.
It's a good flick. It's a good flick. It's the first time I'd seen the whole thing. I saw little scenes from it, but I didn't know it was Interstellar. Like the ship when it get hit by the wave.
Yeah.
I didn't know what movie that came from. I just saw that scene. I was like,
That's a great fucking scene.
Yeah.
That is like terrifying.
Yeah. And what the movie's about is it's about this guy. He's a farmer, and he's using all this high technology stuff that he's salvaging to run his farm. He's turned all the combines into robots. He could call down fucking Navy.
Well, he didn't call that down.
He brought it down with that thing.
Yeah, he did, but I mean,
Yeah.
the reason that it was and I don't think I realized this the
was
first
a
time,
drone.
because this was the second time that I'd seen it. I saw it
Yeah.
like many years ago, but this is the first time you'd seen it.
Yeah.
What I didn't realize was that the drone was, because remember how they said, why is it flying so low?
Yeah.
And then remember the part where the combines, they said, why are the
Yeah.
combines like all weird like that?
Yeah.
It was because of the gravitational anomalies that
Oh,
were
is that
in
what
the
it was?
house.
Okay.
Where like that's what was attracting the stuff. And like I said, the first time I saw it, I don't think that I made that connection.
Anyways, it's post-apocalyptic, and the government that they have is not quite the same one we have, and they're kind of rewriting history, and they're trying to get people to not really believe in space travel, and just trying to get them to work. And there's like some
Just
kind
grow
of
some corn,
grow
goddammit.
corn. Yeah, it is. There's some kind of blight happening, and Earth is becoming to where it can't. For some reason, it can't support life anymore. They can't grow crops on it. So the population evidently has drastically declined too. But they don't really get into all the details, which is sometimes a good thing in sci-fi, is not to over-explain things.
Yeah.
And the guy used to be a pilot. He's played by that dude that fucking in that dude. That dude, you know, the dude that we're talking about.
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
Yeah. That dude.
That guy.
He seems okay. I like that guy. He's from the South. He was in a real good movie called Free State of Jones. That's about Jones County, where my family's from in Mississippi. We fought the Union and the Confederacy. We were in the fucking... Never mind. It was an uprising that we had. Anyway, I had ancestors involved in it. The... He's Matthew McConaughey. He's like a pilot, and he was had space travel experience.
Yeah, and he was an engineer back in the day.
It turns out that NASA had a secret program going on. They didn't tell anybody, but some aliens, I guess it's aliens, put a wormhole around Saturn, and the wormhole led to some planets that were possibly like life-bearing. So they had this mission. They sent these 12 guys out to check these 12 different planets that the aliens had, I guess, suggested. And not all of them were perfect, and then they heard back from a couple of them. So they're going to send, and this was like 12 years ago, so they're going to send our lead character, they're going to send him to go and pick out and rendezvous with the planets that reported back that they were good.
To check him out.
So there's this secret space mission going on. It has a lot of cool shit in it. And the movie is kind of like a faster-paced 2001, A Space Odyssey, like what Kubrick did. There was a lot of parallels with it.
Yeah, I mean, and Christopher Nolan is a big fan of that movie, so he kind of wanted to make his... He didn't want to make his version of it, but...
One of the things I liked about it is they had robots with them. And they were kind of like based on HAL. But they had a lot more personality, and you could change their personalities. And they were basically just boxes, or actually like a monolith.
Like the monolith, yeah.
But they could do things. They could come apart, and they had limbs, and they could become whatever. It kind of reminded me of the AI robot made by Proteus in the movie Demon Seed.
Yeah.
Where he made a robot that was based upon triangles that got smaller and smaller and smaller, and it could just turn into anything it needed. So it kind of reminded me of that. And the robots are pretty cool in it.
I really like the robots in this movie. Like the main robot, who is Tars, he's voiced by Bill Irwin. I like that they had the robot not look like a person.
Yeah.
But interacts like a person.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have, like, a robot-y kind of voice. He just has, like, a regular human voice.
Yeah, at first I just thought they were talking to a person, but it was a robot they were talking
Yeah.
to. It doesn't have any face or anything. No expression.
Yeah, it's just like a big kind of, like an aluminum box type of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like shaped like the monolith with a screen in it. And it can kind of morph and become any kind of limbs. It could become basically like a star that could roll. It could do things, it could just become whatever it needs.
Yeah, he could turn into like a little asterisk and get a roll.
Yeah, did a lot of neat stuff. And they do eventually go through, which kind of reminded me a little bit of the old Disney movie called The Black Hole.
Yeah.
The thing is the black hole fucking sucked. When they went through the black hole, it goes to heaven, to hell. It didn't make any fucking sense. And you see Maximilian and you see, fucking visions of fucking heaven and hell. It kind of made moral sense, but not really scientific sense. And then the people from the Cygnus, they never, the crew that you're following, they emerge through the other side, but they never end. There's never any resolution in it. In this one, they actually do stuff like go through a wormhole, end up going into the singularity of a black hole, didn't they? And
he does, yeah.
Yeah, and they ended up
him and the robot.
Yeah, and they ended up outside of time space.
Ended up in a tesseract.
Yeah, him and the robot ended up in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when they cracked the whole fucking secret to the whole movies. Once they got through that black hole, there's just a lot of good ideas in it. It's kind of plausible for a science fiction movie like this. It didn't do anything that threw me out of the movie. They go to these other planets, which are Earth-like, but they're not habitable. One of them was just a damn shallow ocean. The whole fucking planet was just a shallow ocean. Went up to about your knees, or maybe your ankles. And then every now and then, I guess every few hours, a huge mega wave comes.
Well, I mean, it was right by that black hole, so it's like you would think the tidal forces on a planet like that would be.
Right.
And the water was shallow because it was all being swept up
into a big old
into
fucking
these
wave.
big fucking waves.
Wave that went around the whole planet. It was miles tall, and that thing would hit you every few hours.
So can't live on that.
Can't live on that one. And what's funny is
that would suck a lot.
I think a lot of people don't know that the Earth used to be like that.
Yeah.
Billions of years ago. The moon used to be closer, and it had water on it, but it was just a huge tidal wave crossed the whole surface of the Earth fucking every 24 hours, Now we know it as the tide coming in and out. But it used to be where it was just like huge waves, miles tall, just going around the whole fucking planet, crushing up all the rocks, making sand. Just a long process to make life. You got to punish the shit out of a planet to unlock whatever nutrients you need to start a damn life cycle. But it was wild. So it was a good flick. I enjoyed it. Acting was good, real good. Matthew McConaughey, he delivers in it. Does a good job. Got some cute chick in it with black hair.
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway, yeah. I said, Jen, who is that? Because Anne Hathaway says, yeah, it sounds familiar.
Yeah, she's in a million things.
Okay.
And everything.
Yeah. Which, she's a pretty good character. She fucks up at one point, but she was under a lot of pressure. She wanted to retrieve this damn data thing module from the fallen aircraft.
Yeah, I understood why she did that, but she absolutely should have got her skinny little ass back into the
got the other dude killed trying to save
lander.
Her.
Yeah, I mean, shit happens.
Granted, time space was all fucked up. Every hour was 7 years that they were on that planet because the gravitational forces were so bad. Or the rotation, what was it? There was something about the way that it rotated.
Well, because it was so close to the black hole, there was this massive time distortion.
Big time dilation happened because it was near the black hole.
So that's I kind of feel like, because you know how a lot of people say that Christopher Nolan, that his movies are kind of clinical, I guess, or like kind of cerebral. But the thing about it is that I kind of feel like this one, of all the movies I've seen, this might be his most emotional movie. Because at the core of it really is, there's like all the space travel stuff and everything like that, but really kind of the heart of the movie is Matthew McConaughey's character, whose name is Cooper, his decision to leave his family, leave his children, mostly his daughter. He doesn't really seem to give much of a crap about his son. His son, whose name is Tom, in his younger iteration, that was Timothée Chalamet from Dune. when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Like, I thought he looked familiar, and I was like, is that... Yeah, and it was. I don't know if that was his first movie or not. But yeah, so it's this whole thing about, should I leave them behind, not knowing when I'm going to come back? Like, it could be years, it could be never, to save all of mankind. You know what I mean? Like, it was this whole, like, moral dilemma that he was at. And then, especially when they get out and they go through the wormhole, which already takes a couple of years. Like, I think it took 18 months, they said, like, to get out to the wormhole or something like that. And then, like, when they get out there and they go to explore the planet, they know very well that this first planet they're going to go to, every hour they're on this planet is going to be 7 years on Earth. So if they fuck around, you know, they're like, if we stay here too long, then there's no fucking point in this mission because everybody on Earth will be dead.
Yeah.
Like, because of the time that is passing.
Yeah, because Earth's dying.
Yeah, so... But then, like, you find out... I guess we can do spoilers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this movie came out in 2014. It's, you know, it's 10 years old at this point.
It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
I didn't see any of these movies when they came out. I always saw them much later. I wasn't even sure who Christopher Nolan was. I really wasn't paying attention during that time.
Yeah.
I just saw the Batman movies. I thought they were great. But every movie I've seen from him, I liked it. They're good. We saw another one that he did. Remember where there was one where they were kind of like... The world was changing based upon, what was your consciousness? It was kind of like The Matrix.
Inception.
Inception, yeah.
Yeah, we just reviewed that one.
We just reviewed that one. That was pretty good, too.
Honestly, I think my favorite movies of his are probably the ones that are kind of smaller scale. Like, we did Memento. I fucking love Memento. That was his first movie. Well, I think Following was his first movie. But Memento was, like, his first big hit. And I really, really like The Prestige, which I don't remember... Did we review that? I would be shocked if we didn't review that because I fucking love that movie and I love the book too by Christopher Priest. It's really good, but so I prefer his smaller scale ones, his ones that aren't like big ideas, because I do kind of feel like as time has gone on, you know, he's gotten into these bigger like philosophical ideas and stuff, which this definitely plays with. And the thing about Interstellar is that as out there as some of the concepts are, the idea for this movie was actually kind of sort of come up with by a theoretical physicist, Kip Thorne, who is actually quite well known. Him and his wife, they actually wrote the original screen treatment. And Steven Spielberg was actually going to direct this initially, because they started working on this back in 2007 or something. And when Steven Spielberg was going to direct it, they got Jonathan Nolan, who's Christopher Nolan's brother, obviously, to write the screenplay. But then after Steven Spielberg couldn't do it, you know, Jonathan Nolan was like, hey, why don't we bring Christopher Nolan on and he'll direct it? And then they collaborated on a screenplay. But the thing about it is that because Kip Thorne was, you know, a consultant on the movie, pretty much all of the science in this is accurate. And the thing about it is that the way that they portray like the wormhole, like as a sphere and stuff like that, they said that is probably the most accurate representation ever in a Hollywood movie. Same with the black hole. Nobody knows what would happen if you go into a black hole, obviously, but
it'd rip you apart.
They're like, and they asked like a bunch of physicists and stuff like that, like famous phys, like, you know, Michio Kaku and Neil deGrasse Tyson and people like that. And most of them said, yeah, this is like real accurate, other than where it's theoretical, and then it's theoretical. It's like, you know, we don't know what's inside a black hole. Do what you want. You know what I mean? But yeah, because what ends up being in the black hole, I think didn't he say that he wasn't, well, I mean, he did kind of just go right to the black hole, right? He was supposed to go right by the singularity because they wanted the data, right? Like him and Tars, the robot, they wanted the data to send back to Earth, like to help them figure something out, like figure out the calculation that would allow them to bring all the people like out to this planet, right?
Yeah.
But
I don't know how they went into the black hole. Didn't really explain it.
Yeah, I mean,
they just went into it.
Yeah, they did kind of like talk about it like a bit earlier, but I don't know how much they went into it. But so it ends up though that when he's in there, he goes into essentially like a tesseract, which is like a fourth or fifth dimensional space, and it's at that point in the movie that you discover that all the shit that happened years ago, like that made him go to like all the weird gravitational anomalies that were showing up at his farmhouse that gave him the binary code to find where NASA was and all this other stuff, was him from the future. Yeah. So it's like a closed time loop type of movie.
Yeah, and there was some kind of aliens involved. I guess, right? Because
they weren't aliens. They were
who was it?
future humans.
Future humans? Okay.
Yeah.
Because they were opening and closing them time dilation things. And
because remember he said when he's in the Tesseract, you know, he said, who's they? He's like, it's us. But like us from the future.
Okay.
Like a far future, I'm assuming.
They were helping Earth in the past because they had to.
But see, that's the thing about these kind of time travel closed loop movies is that how you get the loop started? Because, you know, if he had to go, like, he was in the future and he goes back through the Tesseract and like starts doing the ghost shit in his daughter's room, like to give them the codes and everything like that, then it's like you would have to, you know what I'm saying? It's like you would have to do that like to start with. How do you get the loop started? No,
because the fact that the ghostly phenomenon happened first, that was only your point of view. Later on, you went back there, outside space-time, to send the message back. You say, okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm sending the message back.
Because don't they call that bootstrapping? Like
yeah. He knew what he had to do when he saw the target. Remember? He saw her room. He goes, okay, it leads back to here. I know what this is.
But then he tried to send himself a message not to go. But see, of course, that would be impossible because he already went.
He already went.
You can't go back and change the past. I mean, I think they even go into that in the movie that, like, because Anne Hathaway's character says that you can do all this kind of, like, futzing around with time and stuff, but you can't go back and, like, change shit in the past because it's already happened.
It wasn't clear to me if the Earth actually survived because they were living in one of those damn tubular toilet paper worlds. Remember?
The toilet paper worlds, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a toilet paper tube, and you can live in it. I know you all are fucking confused about what I just said. You could take a big sheet, okay, manufacture a huge sheet, put it in space, and roll it into a tube and spin it, and it would have gravity, and you could walk on the inside of it. You could have a artificial sun down the middle of it and grow crops in it. And you could live in a it's not really like a ring world, kind of, just a tubular world. So when you look ahead, you don't see a horizon. It actually bends up. You could look up. You could see a land looking down at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be big. The thing's fucking hundreds and hundreds of miles. It's huge. I don't think you can make it with modern technology as we know it now. You'd have to take a bunch of nanites and send them out to the asteroid belt, and then have those nanites rebuild all those damn asteroids, break them down and build them into something like that. There wouldn't even be anybody there. It would just happen at a molecular level, and when it was ready, you could just call it over and get in it. Be wild. But that's probably how they'll do things eventually, because you couldn't build something that big using cranes and shit like that, and in space. It wouldn't be worth it.
Yeah.
And furnaces and forges and shit to make steel. You'd have to do it at a molecular level using nanites.
Here's the thing. I kind of got the feeling, like, I don't think they explicitly said this in the movie, but according to the, outside sources like Wikipedia and stuff, what you see at the beginning of the movie where Matthew McConaughey is on the farm and finds NASA and stuff, that's 2067 that year.
Okay.
And then, like, at the end, like, after he goes through the black hole and the Tesseract and everything like that, and then he gets rescued, that's like 100-something years later, I think. So I'm assuming that everyone that had survived on Earth has been brought to this space station at this point. Because, like I said, one of the things, we were watching the movie, and at one point Tom's like, man, this movie's a bummer.
Yeah.
It is kind of like heavy. It's kind of a downer. There is a little bit of humor in it, mostly from the robots, but the whole thing about him leaving his family behind, and then like the one time where they go to the ocean planet and then they're down there and they leave like one dude back up on the ship. He's like, I'm gonna research all this shit while you're gone, and they're gone for 23 years.
Yeah.
And then they get back up there and then they're like, oh, there's all these messages from home. So he has to sit there and watch 23 years of like his kids growing up, like his kids having kids, their kids dying from the blight that's on Earth. And it's just like, and he's just sitting there like fucking crying and shit like that. It's awful. It's just like...
Yeah, he wasn't awake for 23 years though.
He said he did stretches like where he slept. And,
he went in and out of hibernation.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't think they were going to be coming back.
Well, yeah, you would. I mean, that's a
Right.
long time to like wait around for somebody.
Yeah.
Like, even though you know that that's the time distortion is gonna like
Right.
make it like that. But
We've
what?
never gone down there.
No, well, see, that's the thing.
Gone
Like,
down.
you don't know.
Yeah.
Like, they get there, and I get that there has to be like a dramatic thing. So they go through the wormhole, and there's a system, and there's 3 planets, and the 3 scientists, because they sent out 12 little lonely scientists that went on the 12, and there were 3 that were really promising, and they were all orbiting this supermassive black hole, but they're not really sure which one they should visit first, and obviously they don't have enough fuel or enough resources or enough time to go to all of them, so they have to like decide, well, which one looks the most promising, which one has the best data, everything like that. And then it turns out the first one they go to is that ocean planet, which is obviously not. And the woman that went there, like, she died like moments after getting there. Like, she just crashed into the fucking thing and a wave killed her.
Yeah.
And so, but they didn't have any way of knowing that, really.
When they got there, the wreckage was all fresh because, from the point of view of the planet, it had only happened a couple minutes ago.
Right before they got there, which is like really
A couple
freaky to
hours
think
ago, yeah.
about. And then, like, when they get to the second planet, and they meet surprise guest Matt Damon, who, it's funny because when this movie came out, they kind of tried to keep him, like, the fact that he was in the movie, like, kind of on the down low. I don't even think he was like credited like at the beginning or anything like that, because I don't know. I guess they thought that it would be too distracting or so, because, I mean, he's like a huge famous star. So they kind of just like kept it on the down low. So when he shows up in the movie, and he had just been I feel like he had just been in The Martian, where he was like, remember that movie where he was like a good guy and he's like farming potatoes on Mars, like with his poop and stuff? Well, he was.
It's funny how you remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I remember that.
I like that they used Matt Damon in this because, and I think one of the reasons that they didn't want you to know it was Matt Damon, because you would already be primed to think of him as a good guy. Yeah. It's like, he was just in The Martian. He saved he saved Mars or whatever. And, but he turns out, spoiler alert, to be a villain. Like, they go to that planet and they're like, well, this isn't ideal. It's kind of frozen. You could probably still live on it, but he's like, no, like, lower down. I didn't realize this until I read some shit about it, but where they landed, because remember he said, oh, down on the surface, like, it's fine down there, because up here you still got to wear the helmet because of the ammonia and everything. That actually wasn't ground. That was frozen clouds.
Oh, okay.
That they were sitting on.
All right.
So they weren't like down on the surface. But so he told him, he's like, but down there it's like totally fine. But it turned out that he faked all the data, but just because he wanted somebody to come save his ass.
Yeah.
Because he thought he was going to die alone out there. He's like, but nobody can live on this fucking place. And he was just wanted somebody to come there, and he was going to take the fucking ship and get the fuck out.
Yeah, which he did.
Which he did until they stopped him. Well, honestly, that whole sequence, like, after he steals the lander and they have to go after him before he gets to the Endurance, like, before he gets to the space station or whatever, that's a great fucking sequence where he gets, like, blown out the airlock and fucking they have to line the shit up and, like, the thing's, like, spinning all crazy because it got destroyed and, like, partially destroyed. But, yeah, that's all the cinematography in this and, like, all the space shots and stuff are, like, fucking epic. And I kind of wish... I didn't see this in the theater. I actually saw it... I remember watching it at our old house in Sanford, but you didn't watch it with me, so maybe I watched it when you were like in Mississippi or something.
Maybe.
Because I don't remember you being there when I watched it.
I only remember seeing that one scene with the big wave. That's the only thing I remember about this movie. I didn't see it. I didn't see this movie.
But then it turns out too that Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway's character, who is the daughter of Michael Caine's character, who's kind of like the professor who was behind all of this plan, it turned out that they got lied to, because plan A was supposed to be, we're going to go find these habitable planets, and then we'll come back to Earth and get the surviving people on Earth and take them to a new planet and everything will be fine. Because Earth, at this point, they're like, there's no way in a generation or two no one's going to be able to live here, so it's getting like really, really bad. Like, people are starting to want to like move underground and shit like that. So they're like, so we have to do something quick. But what they find out after they've already gone through all of this heartache and mission, and a couple of people on their mission have died and all this other shit, they found out that Michael Caine said, well, we were never going to do plan A. Like, we were just going to say, fuck all these people. I mean, not like that. But he's just like, we knew that there was no hope for them. Like, we couldn't figure it out. So we just had all these little embryos and shit like that and put those in a spaceship. And we're just, like, going to restart the human race someplace else. But we didn't want to tell everybody that, obviously, because the people on Earth would freak out that we were just, like, leaving them there to die because there was just no way to save them all.
That's plausible. I mean, that's what you would do, though.
Well, the thing about it, and
save them, that's what you would do.
And somebody brought this up. Like, I was reading a review of this, and, like, you know, there was this big discussion about kind of all the big ideas behind it. And somebody said, well, do you think it would be better? Like, because obviously there's not a lot of money or resources left on Earth. And things are being siphoned off into NASA, like, without... Which is very funny, because do you remember the scene, like, really early in the movie where Matthew McConaughey goes to that, like, parent-teacher conference? Like, the whole thing with it. And he even says, I still pay my taxes. Where's all that money going? Yeah. It was going to NASA, but they don't want anybody to know that. So, so I like that they put that little thing in there. Then you don't really realize the gravity of that until later on. But the thing about it that some people have brought up, it's like, well, if you only have limited resources, would it be better to just try to alleviate the suffering of the people already on Earth? For example, try to do something to solve the blight, which I'm sure they were doing also, you know, or try to find some alternate source of food or something else, like, to help people that are already on here, or pour more money towards kind of a pie in the sky sort of thing of going to another planet.
Well, that wormhole appeared, so they went for that.
Yeah.
They thought aliens were helping them. I don't know why they didn't put that wormhole around the moon.
Yeah, it's like, couldn't you put it a little bit closer, future people? Yeah. I mean, just, it could have been, like, right there, like, boop, you could just, like, pop right in there. Why the fuck you want to put it way up by Saturn? That's very, very far. That's very far. Yeah, you're right. Why didn't they put it closer? Yeah. Maybe there was some reason they couldn't. They didn't really address that in the movie, I don't think. But yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I got, like, way behind on questions. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, Ben said it's all about Cooper's relationship with his daughter. Yeah, and I like that about it. I like that it's like a big sci-fi epic, but it's also really grounded in the relationship between him and his daughter. And then I like that they both kind of save the world, like, across, like, her on Earth and him, like, way the fuck up in space. Like, they have this bridge between the thing, and so I thought that was, like, kind of a cool thematic. Some people thought it was, like, too sentimental or too schmaltzy or whatever. I didn't really find that.
To answer your question, no, they shouldn't have worried about the people on the Earth to alleviate the suffering on the Earth, because that just would have stretched it out, stretched the suffering out, maybe, you know, a few years longer, but they still would have eventually died anyway. It'd be better to have like a go for broke mission to try to colonize another planet. That makes more sense. So at least there'd be people in the future.
Yeah, because
wasting your money on people that are already dead.
I mean, the end of the movie, they kind of leave it a little ambiguous, but you're led to believe that, because they do show that Anne Hathaway's character, whose name is Dr. Brand, she gets to the third planet, which you're led to assume is going to be habitable. That was the third one that they went to. And then, like, at the end, you know, Cooper, like, steals a ship. He steals a ship, essentially, right?
Yeah, he did. He stole a ship.
I mean, I think, like, his daughter told him, like, go to that planet and find. So I guess technically he didn't steal it, but I don't know. But he steals it, and so you're led to believe that he's gonna go to that planet. I guess. How long will it take him to get there? Because otherwise, she's just there with all these embryos, and she's just gonna be stuck there raising all these fucking embryos. But, like, until he gets there. But I guess you're led to assume it's, like, a hopeful ending, that he's gonna get there, and it'll be like an Adam and Eve type of situation, I guess.
That's what they were setting up.
Yeah. Like, I don't really think they didn't really establish much of a romantic relationship between those two, because the thing about it was that her character was in love with Wolf Edmonds, the scientist from the third planet. Yeah. And that was why she wanted to go to that planet first, and everybody said, no, you know, you're just blinded by love, and you can't, you know, you just want to see him again, and you're not. You're just being a chick. But it turned out that she was right. Like, that was the one that they should have gone to first, because that was the only one that was habitable out of the three.
Right, and he wasn't there. He was dead, wasn't he?
Yeah, by the time she got there,
Yeah.
he had already died. So so they kind of had that whole
Because there was some time dilation stuff that had happened,
right
too,
because the black hole was so close.
the black hole, they were gone for 23 something years.
Yeah, so to me that was like the saddest. I do like that Coop got to see his daughter again before the end, but she was old as fuck.
Yeah, 125, I think.
Yeah, and you're led to assume that it's the future now because it's 2157 or whatever year it was supposed to be. And
people live a long time.
Yeah, people lived a long time, but she had a bunch of kids and grandkids and grandkids. They were all there. And so he got to see her before she died. But man, how fucking freaky would that be? Like if you were just like 40 and you go and you see your daughter and she's like 125 years old. I mean, technically he was too, but he didn't look like it.
And she had her last kid at 96.
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of like that. But that was like, I mean, that was like a really, I thought Matthew McConaughey did a really good job in this. Like, he's very low key and he's very understated. But a couple of those scenes, like I said, where he was watching the 23 years of messages from his family, like when he was on the planet and like, you know, his son had grown up and married and had kids and their first kid died from the blight and then they had another one. And, you know, his daughter wouldn't talk to him because she was so pissed off that he had left them behind and she didn't think he was coming back and all this other kind of stuff. And he's just like sitting there like fucking like just devastated and crying over it. And I'm like, God, that would be fucking horrible. And it's just, and then when he like gets his daughter, he gets to see his daughter at the end and she basically just says, you know, no parent should watch their child die, even though she's super, super old. And she's like, you know, go, basically saying it's like, go to the future, you know what I mean? It's like, you don't need to see this. Like, all my kids are here. That's how it's supposed to happen. Like, you know, the kids watch their parent die, not the other way around. So I kind of like that. Like I said, I kind of feel like some people this got pretty good, like decent reviews when it came out. But I think some people thought that it was like a little too sentimental, maybe, like especially compared to some of his other stuff, which tends more toward like kind of clinical or more conceptual rather than emotional, I guess. But I don't know, I liked that aspect of it. I actually liked Matthew McConaughey in this because he's really like an everyman type of character. Like he was very relatable.
That's his job in Hollywood, actually.
Yeah, I mean he's really good at that. That's kind of like that's his niche.
Yeah.
He just comes across very good as just like a regular dude type of character.
He's got a southern accent.
Yeah, and I think they needed that for this because you could really, you know, this film like kind of explores like some really lofty, not only scientific ideas but also like philosophical ideas and shit like that, like moral quandaries about, you know, what's the best use of our resources and blah blah blah. So I think that having him at the core of it was like a really good decision. But, you know, yeah, I mean,
I thought it was good flick.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I mean, it's long as fuck for sure. But honestly,
it's not a hard watch, though, really.
It didn't really seem long to me. I remembered it being long. Christopher Nolan makes long movies, okay? It's just like, that's just how it goes. But it doesn't seem long. It seems, and this is not a criticism, it seems episodic, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I saw another review that said it almost seemed like a themed anthology, which I don't know. I wouldn't go that far, but it definitely does have different acts to it, like, you know what I mean, that are kind of happening all at the same time, but thematically like everything's kind of linked, and I kind of dug that. I don't, like I said, my favorite Christopher Nolan movies are still Memento and The Prestige, and probably always will be, because I like his movies better when they're smaller scale, but this one, do I like this better than Inception? I'm actually not sure.
Yeah, this one's easier to follow than Inception.
That's true. Inception is a little more high concept and a little bit. This one has a lot of exposition too. I mean, Inception had a lot of exposition just by necessity because it's such an out there idea that obviously you have to explain it to the audience somehow, and there's really no elegant way to do that. This has a lot of exposition too, which I kind of feel like some of the exposition you didn't need it, especially kind of the discussions about what a wormhole was or how a wormhole works. I'm pretty sure like most people know at least roughly like how a wormhole works. You don't have to do like the pencil through the paper thing. Like a lot of movies do that. Like I get that that's probably the best analogy, but you know, I kind of feel like some of the stuff didn't need to be in there, but I mean, other than that, I don't know. I really like this movie. I liked it better the second time because, like I said, I'd seen it before, but we just kind of came across it randomly. I was just flipping through the Amazon Prime stuff.
Yeah, and I'd never seen it. I said Interstellar.
And Tom had never seen it, and I was like, oh, that's, you know, it's really good. And I said, I think it's Christopher Nolan. And he likes Christopher Nolan, so I was like, yeah, we should watch that. I said, no, it's super long, and we were kind of tired, but he's like, no, I'll put it on. So, yeah, we ended up really like, he did say it was a bummer.
Kind of, yeah.
Which it kind of is, just because, like I said, it's kind of hard, especially, I was watching one review on a thing where the guy had seen it once, and he's like, yeah, it was pretty good, but he's like, it resonates a lot more because in the interim between the first and second time he'd seen it, he'd had kids himself. And he's like, so now, like, it's a lot more emotional for me because I can put myself in the position of, like, leaving your kid behind to save humankind and all this other kind of stuff. But, you know, I don't know. I really like this movie. It's not my favorite Christopher Nolan movie, but I think it's pretty fucking great.
Okay, comments.
Comments. Yeah, I got way behind. Yeah, let's see. Jenny, do you think Star Trek will become a reality one day in the future?
No.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe something like it, but
no,
I doubt it. But the thing about it is that
too many humanoid fucking species and
there's
no, none of that.
The future never really looks like anybody thinks it will because just there's so many factors and like
100 years from now people would look at those and laugh at those programs
that go in directions that you can't predict.
Right. Go back and go look at Jules Verne's fucking stuff, you know, like Trip to the Moon, his old movies, Voyage to the Moon, where they go to the moon but they get shot there out of a cannon, and then when they arrive they're just walking around top.
Yeah, they just shoot him in a cannon to the moon. Good luck with the landing.
Yeah,
Pat.
Yeah, and then
that's one powerful cannon.
They see moon people and they just destroy the moon people by hitting them with fucking umbrellas. They just poof and pop away.
Yeah, we were watching that the other day, and I was like, "Yeah, that's typical people. Let's just go to another planet and like hit everybody with hammers."
And they return to the Earth by jumping off the edge of the moon and falling back to Earth.
That edge that the moon has.
Going, and landing in the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then swam back to Earth and was like, "Man, it was so crazy. We went to the moon the other day.
Yeah.
Hammered some people to death."
Yeah.
Then jumped off and came right back. And
and they went there with a bunch of cute French girls.
Yeah, they didn't understand how anything worked back then.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought like
they slept outside on the surface of the moon.
They did, yeah. Like they didn't have helmets on or nothing. You can just take an afternoon trip to the moon.
Yeah, that's what our science fiction will look like in 100 years, 200 years.
It probably will.
It'd be that ridiculous. Star Trek is already kind of looking that ridiculous when you think about it.
And I mean, and that was the vanguard at the time because they did at least try to keep things. I mean, they did take a lot of liberties, but they did at least try to keep it somewhat believable.
Yeah, the ultimate evil in Star Trek was the Borg.
Yeah.
If you look at it, man, kids today are basically the Borg. They're just not really connected together in their minds or connected together on their cell phones. It's just that was a high-tech concept.
Yeah.
In the 90s, you know. And we're probably going to be more like the Borg than fucking the Federation. We'll just kind of merge with technology, probably.
Yeah, I kind of see that happening.
Yeah.
Kaylon Higgins says Christopher Nolan consulted with an astrophysicist to create for the VFX artist to create a model of the black hole based on an equation. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier on. That it was Kip Thorne actually, and some of the, I think the black hole render or the wormhole render.
The wormhole is a sphere.
They said that it took like so long to render because they used like real equations like to get it to look as close to what it probably really does look like as possible. And I think that some people have even written like scientific papers and shit like that about like the new shit that the models that they made for this movie kind of gave them some new data about it. You know what I mean? Which I thought was kind of cool. Now, Phantom says, I'm not seeing a 13 o'clock podcast Prestige review. Okay, we have to get on that like right away because I really, really like that movie. And I've seen it probably 5 or 6 times at this point. Have you ever seen The Prestige?
I don't remember what it was.
It's got Christian Bale in it and Wolverine.
What were they doing?
They're rival magicians.
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, it's so good. The book is good too. If you haven't read the book, it's a little bit different, but it's really good. You'd probably really like it. I really like it. But yeah, we should definitely do that next then, because since we're on a Christopher Nolan thing, I'll see if it's somewhere on one of the streaming services so we can see it. I can't believe we haven't done it. I love that fucking movie. But like I said, it's still concerned with big ideas, as Christopher Nolan does, but it's more grounded. It's like a smaller story.
Okay.
And and Michael Caine is in it too, and you know, all his usual. Scarlett Johansson's in it. Isn't Scarlett Johansson in it? I want to say she's in it too.
Somebody was asking to see Ariel in the Michael Caine wig. Somebody in there, I forgot who it was.
She actually has a Wednesday Addams wig on today.
Yeah, she was cute in it.
Because he bought that Wednesday Addams wig for her, and then I was like, well, let me see if it fits me, but it doesn't. It's like child size.
It's a child size.
So it won't fit on my big fat head.
Yeah.
Ben said, wasn't it a wormhole to his daughter's bedroom? No, technically not. The wormhole was to
the planet,
this other galaxy.
Yeah.
Where the other habitable planets were. The future humans made the wormhole closer so we could get to it like in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
What the bedroom thing was, that was when he went through the singularity and essentially went into a tesseract that kind of made him transcend time and space. So future, I guess it was like the future people or future him or something like that constructed this tesseract so he knew what he was looking at, so he would be able to interact with the environment and influence his past self and give his daughter information. You know, that's how I read it anyway. So that wasn't a wormhole in the bedroom. That was a whole different thing.
They were in a higher dimension.
Yeah, they were fifth. They said during the movie that was like they were fifth dimensional beings, like 5-dimensional beings or something like that. High Desert says he's talking about The Prestige. All I remember was that David Bowie played Tesla. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay, I know the story you're talking about now.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. I love that fucking movie so much. Yeah, we should probably do that one next because I can't believe we haven't done it. Yeah, there's like so many. Yeah, Kaylin Higgins said when you were talking about the toilet paper roll thing.
What's it called?
An O'Neill cylinder.
O'Neill cylinder, that's right.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, O'Neill cylinder.
And I like, too, that when he gets there, they made, like, a museum out of his farmhouse. Yeah. Like, and shit like that.
I was thinking Dyson sphere, but I knew it wasn't a Dyson sphere.
No, that's not. That's something different.
It's an O'Neill cylinder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I got, like, way behind on this. There's a lot of comments on this, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comments. I don't know. I lost track of, like, what they were talking about. Oh, Phantom says Matthew McConaughey in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4 is my favorite role of his. That's kind of a terrible movie, but I can see what you're saying. Isn't, like, what's her name in that, too? Like, before she got famous? What's her fucking... Shit.
That girl?
Yeah, the girl with the head.
Yeah, the girl with the head.
The girl with the head and the arms.
Boobs? Yeah.
She was in Bridget Jones's Diary. What the fuck is her name? Renee Zellweger, that's right. That's
okay.
Before she got famous.
Okay.
Yeah, that was, like, one Texas Chainsaw.
When you said the girl with the head, I thought you were talking about fucking the other girl with the head.
That's like that joke like goes just back to when I was in high school, like all our friends, because every now and then somebody would forget like an actor's name or something. You know, the guy with the eyes.
No, Florence Pugh.
Oh,
with the head.
Oh, the guy. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Because you always said she had a big head.
It's a big pretty head. I like her head.
I never noticed that her head was any bigger than anybody else's head.
She's got kind of a big head. She's cute though.
Yeah, I like her actually.
She's little and big head.
But I just thought it was funny that you always bring that up.
It looked like it was big, and it looked like it was big in Midsummer.
Maybe it was just like what her hair was like,
or how they shot her,
or how they shot it. Like I didn't really realize her head
didn't
being
look big in fighting with my family.
Yeah, or she was in Dune too, and it didn't look big in that. And they had all kind of crazy like head pieces on her and stuff in that movie. So you think if her head was gonna look big in anything, it would have looked big in Dune Part 2, but it did not. Yeah. I didn't notice her head being any
I saw
bigger
Flo
than
in Midsummer. I was loving that movie, and I was looking at her and I go, I like her head. It's big. It's just,
Tom likes the weirdest shit. Like he'll notice the weirdest shit. I'm like, what are you talking about? Look at that chick's earlobes. Aren't they neat? It's like that. I don't know if you ever said that particular thing, but it's along those lines. Yeah. Stuff that I probably wouldn't even notice. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I see unusual features.
Yeah, I guess so. But like I said, a lot of times they don't like fucking... I don't like fucking notice them. Let me see. Hold on. I got way behind. Yeah, Michael Caine wig. Yeah, Redem 10 says, how are they going to plan to raise thousands of babies or so on the alien planet? Well...
You raise them little by little. So the grown ones
you plant them in, to the other ones. They plant them in the ground. Well, I think they explained that didn't they have like artificial wombs or something like that, like for the first set. Yeah. And then once those were grown, that they would kind of just start
use them in people.
Yeah, because you could you wouldn't even need sex really. I mean, that would be no fun. But I'm just saying you could just implant the embryos into people. And then...
If you have artificial wombs, though, you don't even need to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a lot easier.
You just grow 2 of them, and when they're born, you raise those 2. And then when they're old enough to work, you have those 2 raise 4 more each. And then those 4...
Yeah, it'd be exponential.
4, so it's exponential. That way everyone can handle the workload. You can't just fucking give birth to 100 of them all at once.
Yeah, you'd have to, go pretty slowly.
Yeah, you'd have to go kind of slow.
Until you got everything kind of
built up.
Until you had
enough workforce to fucking get them going.
To get everything kind of going.
Right.
Because, I mean, and I'm sure it'd be kind of rough at first because, like I said, she gets to the planet, Edmund's planet, and we know that the air is breathable because she takes her helmet off. Yeah. But it still looks kind of rocky. Like, it looks kind of like Arizona or something.
Evidently, Wikipedia said that the dude died when he was in hypersleep, waiting for her.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's what I didn't see that on Wikipedia.
That's what somebody said in the comments.
Oh, maybe it did, yeah. Yeah, because by the time she got there, he was already dead.
Because she was way late.
Well, yeah, because they fucked up and they spent so much time on those other fucking planets. Yeah. And when there was the whole thing, too, is that they didn't have enough fuel. They're like, well, we only have enough fuel to get home or to go to the third planet and do the Plan B thing with the embryos because they had the embryos. But, Matthew McConaughey is like, well... You go onto that third planet, I'm going into the black hole, and we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't tell her ahead of time that that's what he was doing. And it kind of worked out for him but he didn't know that it was going to work out. He's just like, fuck it. We're just going into the black hole, and we'll see what happens. CB said, I'd rather be stranded on a planet with Jenny than Anne Hathaway. Oh, that's nice of you to say.
Watch it now. That's my wife.
I would annoy you in 10 fucking minutes. I guarantee it. Although I haven't annoyed you in 13 years. Much.
No.
Much.
No.
We annoy each other sometimes, but not as much as you might think.
No. We got a lot of space here.
That's true. Yeah. It's not like we're completely up each other's asses 24/7.
This house is like a fucking size of a palace compared to what most people have.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. I was seeing what the size of a London house was, and I was just going, God damn.
I mean, if you got...
My garage is the size of their apartments.
If you got money, you can... Yeah. I mean, that's just like anywhere. If you got money, you can have all kind of shit.
Right. And this house wasn't very expensive when we got it, but I made a lot of money just owning it.
Yeah, already.
I think it's almost... I think you said it was almost $600,000 now, isn't it?
Almost, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, it's gone up significantly in value since we bought it, which is
several $100,000 off owning this house.
We probably bought it at a good time because now everything's too fucking expensive to buy, honestly.
I think it was $375 or $475.
It was $475.
$475 when I got it. Now it's like $600.
And like we said, it's big. It's like it's 5 bedroom.
Yeah, some of the rooms are almost empty, basically.
Yeah, we don't use them.
We don't use them. Yeah.
It's 5 bedroom, 3.5 bath.
Yeah.
2-story.
Yeah.
CB said, how pissed off would you be if you went home to fuck the wife?
On a golf course.
Yeah, it's
on a golf course.
Yeah.
That's okay.
How pissed off would you be if you went home to fuck the wife and she was 98?
She wouldn't even be interested at 98.
She'd be like, where have you been all this time?
Yeah, go ahead and have fun.
That would be so weird. And I was just, I don't know. It's just the whole idea of it is just, I think that was what bums me out about this movie more than anything.
You didn't have to file for divorce. All you have to do is just wait around.
That's nice.
No, just wait around. She'll be gone.
She'll cack sooner or later. She's already fucking 98.
Yeah.
I don't know. She might still be hot when you get down there.
No.
She might be a hot 98.
Never seen it.
You've never seen a hot 98-year-old?
Nope. I've talked about it many times. I can point out women that are in their 70s that are still very hot. Okay? But that's like as each year goes by, the number of hotties decreases. So the number of women that are hot in their 70s, that's fucking less than 1% globally. Less than 1%. And it's hormones and surgeries and keeping up with yourself and training, and that's less than the... Me and Jen, man, I'm in my mid-50s, and Jen's 51 now. You're 51, right?
I'll be 52 in
We
September.
go to clubs that are age appropriate for us on some of these nights, where it's other people in their 50s and 40s. Me and Jen are fucking unicorns. There's like only 2 or 3 other... There's only one other couple, really, that looks like us. A lot of people are younger than us, and they just... No. They look a lot older than we do. Out of shape. People have lived... I don't understand it. I don't know why. Their diet, lack of exercise, sedentary lifestyles, or just fucking punishing fucking careers. There's no telling. I don't know why. But, some of my friends, I look at them, and my friend Scott's younger than me by about 2 or 3 years. He looks 20 years older than me. Easily. Yeah. What'd you say?
And he keeps saying, we just saw him on Saturday, and he keeps saying, you guys just look younger every time you come out.
You guys look younger every time I see you. That's what he said. And I'm looking at him and thinking, yeah, I know what you're thinking, but
I had a really good outfit on Saturday, I must say. I didn't even take a picture of it.
Yeah. We do the work, We work
taken
out,
a picture
fucking
of it. It
take
looks
drugs
really good.
and take the right drugs and fucking work out.
Take the right drugs, that's what you gotta
we have
do.
lots of sex.
Well, that too. that always.
A lot of times that's because of the drugs and the hormones,
Well, yeah, it's like, and it's a constant feedback loop. But yeah, you always gotta do that. You always gotta do that.
You just gotta jumpstart your metabolism with fucking tests and steroids and shit like that, and fucking work and sex and fun.
Yeah.
It's very easy to maintain your health. It's very difficult to regain your health. That's the problem. A lot of guys will lose their health through an injury or something and never come back. Because it's a lot harder when you get older to repair damage.
Yeah, it's better to kind of start younger and not let it get to a point where...
don't let it get...
Because, man, I got to a point where I was, like, real overweight and I had to, like, lose, like, 100 pounds, and it was hard.
Yep.
I mean, I did it, but it was hard.
And she was young when she did that.
I mean, well, I was in my 30s.
That's relatively young compared to now.
Yeah, like late 30s.
It was almost 20 years ago.
Yeah. Let me see. Jeffy Hart said, I think Dune will be more of a reality than Star Trek. Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you never know. I mean, I don't know how shit's going to turn out. I never know.
If people stay humans and they don't become the Borg, basically, then it'll be more like Dune. Because monarchies and monopolies, which they show there, and fucking are actually... That's kind of like the standard for humanity for fucking tens of thousands of years. Those are very stable governments. What you're seeing now in the West, the 20th century, 19th century, that was experimental, and it was based in Christianity, really. It came out of the Enlightenment, the Christian Enlightenment, and that was just a temporary thing. That's going to go away. That was just a bump in the road. It'll go back to what it always was in the past. Probably monarchies.
Now, unless everybody is augmented with like AI and cyborgs and stuff, then all bets are off.
Right.
We don't know how.
I said. Probably.
We don't know how it's gonna go.
If you're a cyborg, that may not be the case. Yeah.
I kind of hope we go the cyborg direction.
The thing is, though, is if you go into the cybernetic realm, what'll happen is that fucking tech oligarchs will control all your cybernetic implants and run you through them. That's what would happen.
Yeah, that would be a bummer.
You wouldn't be free.
I don't know. It's just
problem.
I don't know. We'll just see what happens.
They would use it as mind control.
I'm not too worried about it.
They would run you like ants or robots. Or they would just say, you know what? This is excess population. They're half biological. When the fully robotic versions that we have are superior, they don't ever die. Let's just go ahead and get rid of these people.
Yeah, it's going to go.
We'll just kill them off and replace them with the new. That's what they do. Because don't for one second think they give a fuck about you.
Well,
the richer they are, the less they give a fuck about you.
Gave a fuck about me. So.
You're an obstacle. And the sooner you're out of their way, the more money and the more power they get. Because they're scared of you. They're afraid you're going to rise up and kill them. Because that's what's happened throughout history. Revolutions and fucking overthrows and shit like that. And they're terrified right now. They're just scared.
Ben says, don't spoil The Prestige.
I know what it's about.
I can't promise that, though, because that's a movie that's really, really hard to talk about if you don't... Well, it's hard to talk about like all the philosophical implications of it if you don't say what's happening in it. So I don't know. Yeah. We'll watch it, and then we'll discuss it. I do prefer... I try not to, like, when I do, like, book and movie reviews... I'm putting a book review up tomorrow, by the way. I recorded one today. It was like a thriller. I try not to spoil the ending. I like to give, like a lot of detailed context, like, about the characters and plot up to a certain point. But I don't usually like to spoil the ending unless it's old. Like, after a certain time period, I feel like, well, you know, if you haven't seen it or read it, then that's on you. Like... You know, you can just stop the video and go watch it or whatever and then come back later. If it's newish, like just a few years old, then I tend not to want to spoil it. But if it's older than that, then I don't worry about it too much. So, The Prestige, if we do a review of it, I probably will. And, well, the thing about it is I kind of feel like most people here probably seen it. So it won't come as, like, any big shocker. Because when the fuck did that come out? I think that came 90s, out before... No.
I thought it was 90s.
It came out before Interstellar, for sure.
Early 2000s.
I think it was early 2000. Maybe 2005, I want to say. I don't remember, like, when it came out. I've seen it, like, multiple times. And I'm amazed we have not reviewed it. And I just, like, I've seen it a bunch of times, but I don't remember ever watching it with you. So, I don't think you've ever sat through the whole thing. Yeah, Phantom said spoiler reviews are more in-depth. Yeah, it's just, when you can't spoil stuff, I'm always just kind of like, well, is that like a spoiler? I can't talk about that. And it's like, you feel like you're kind of straitjacketed. You can't really talk about anything, which is kind of annoying. 2006. Okay, so I was close. 2006, The Prestige came out. So maybe that'll be the next one we do. If we can find it on streaming services, then we should probably do it. I probably have the book here somewhere. I don't know where it went, though. Maybe I should do a video about that, like comparing the book and the movie. Maybe someday. But yeah, so that might be the next one we do since we're in the Christopher Nolan line again. So, all right, I guess we're going to wrap it up for this evening. I'm still kind of hungry.
Sounds good.
Gonna watch some more Food That Built America.
Oh yeah.
On Hulu. We got a bunch of those left.
I got plenty of pizza left if you want more of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have some more pizza.
It's ready. If not, I can make something else.
I mean, my stomach was growling like before because I had like one piece of pizza, but that's about it. Yeah. That's all I've had today.
Made some good pizza, pan pizza.
Oh my god, it's so good. Did you make it in the air fryer?
No.
No, you just made it in the oven
in cast iron.
Oh, that's why it was so good.
Yeah, cast iron.
It was all like the crust was all like crunchy and yet pillowy inside. It was like it was perfect.
Yeah, it didn't have any tomato sauce on it. It was just
tomatoes from the garden.
Yeah, tomatoes
fresh
from the garden.
Tomatoes,
olive oil, garlic. What was artichokes?
It had artichoke hearts on it.
Black olives.
Yeah.
Fresh oregano that I grow back out there, and fresh fucking basil that I grow out there, and onions and green peppers that I grew out there.
Yeah.
Sauteed and use that as toppings.
Oh my god, I'm starting to drool.
It's good. See, because I like tomato sauce on pizza. But it gives me heartburn a lot of times.
Me too.
So I'm not including it.
Unfortunately, because I fucking love anything with tomatoes in it.
Pizza's real good without it. It doesn't have to have that sauce on it. You just put some tomatoes on top.
And the tomatoes that we grow out back are really good.
Yeah, real good ones.
Really flavorful.
I got a lot of those frozen too. But you can't use it for that application, the frozen one. I'm going to pull the frozen ones and make tomato sauce out of it.
That sounds good.
Because I don't want them they come in batches, and there's so many of them when they come that I can't eat them all.
Yeah.
So some of them I just freeze.
And we eat a lot of tomatoes.
Yeah.
So.
Quarter them, freeze them. Yeah. Okay, let's go.
All right. So we're going to go eat. Remember to drop by on Wednesday night, doing another true crime show. I think this was Tammy's suggestion. We're going to be talking about the Turpin family. I think we talked about them a little bit, like on one of our old shows, like when we used to do the little mini thing like before the main topic, but we never did like a deep dive into these crazy motherfuckers. So we're gonna do that on Wednesday night. So that should be nice and depressing.
That's the people that kept all them kids chained up.
Yeah,
all their kids,
like 13 of them or something.
Kind of starving them. They were little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
and
a
one
fucked
of them
up
was
story.
like 30. She looked like she was 14.
We've been doing like such fucked up stories lately.
So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good show.
Yeah, so we're gonna be doing that on Wednesday night. So hopefully you guys can join us for that, and we will see you guys again on Wednesday night. Good.